What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of For the Fowlers. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Caton.
All right, Caton's back after a couple weeks off. We finally got him to jump back on the pod, man. Welcome back.
Yep, glad to be back.
For this one, I just kind of, we're middle of the season here, or getting towards the middle of the season. Weather's starting to cool off quite a bit, and what I was thinking about was I was kind of going through my blind bag as I kind of shift from those warm hunts to those cooler hunts, and kind of doing a what's in the blind bag episode. And really what sparked this interest is whether it's any sort of hunter that you follow on YouTube or podcast. Everyone seems to do kind of a what's in the blind bag, what they carry and what they use, whether it's private land, public land. And I figure it might be kind of fun to kind of run through some of the things that the experts say that we should carry in our bag, see if we agree with that, or if those are things we already carry. And then maybe we'll talk a little bit about our setups. And then I actually reached out to the refuge page and, got to hear from some of the fellow hunters out there what they never leave home with. So there's some pretty funny things in there, as well as some essentials. So what do you think, man? I figure we'll just kind of do a what's in the blind bag episode this week.
No, that'll be good. That's probably the most important part of your hunt is getting that bag ready. And I think I still screwed up.
Well, it's funny, man. And I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, how the hell is my bag so goddamn heavy all the time, And so we're going to find out if I'm carrying too much shit or if we have the right amount of stuff or what's in there. What can I get rid of? That type of thing. But
And you say for the past 3 seasons, I've been like fighting this game with weight. I'm like, I got to be able to trim it down. I'll empty the whole bag out right on my wife hates it, right in the mudroom. It's all out there. I'm like, sweet, I can get rid of 95% of this. I put it all back in there, and then I get ready for the hunt, and then I'm back to a heavy bag again. I got to trim it down, but I feel like I have it pared down pretty well. So maybe I just need to go to the gym a few more times. I don't know.
Yeah, I think my trouble is I already have all this gear, and then as we're getting ready to leave the car and head out for the blind, I feel like I've never really hunted more than 3 hours at a time. That seems to be all that you really need, or the flight dies off. But I don't know why I pack enough food and snacks for 3 days. So
yeah, well, that and water. Like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna bring my normal water that I drink over, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I'll throw 2 more water bottles in there. I've never touched those 2 water bottles. The labels are all worn off from just being in the bag, but they're there. Don't worry, I'm carrying them every time.
Dude, so my last hunt, I ran out of water, and I will tell you kind of what happened there. I'll tease it, but I'll tell you what happened there. And then Chuck, who was on episode 2, gave me like a secret of the pros. So I'll share that with the listeners here as we jump into what's in my bag. But what do you say, man? Should we jump into some of the essentials?
Yep, let's go.
Cool. So, yeah, we were kind of checking out things online and the essentials that every waterfowler should carry. They kind of broke it down into a few different categories here. So, starting off, safety and survival. So, this one's kind of interesting, but I think all of us would agree headlamp number one. But it also
Gotta
says
have a headlamp.
yeah, and obviously it doesn't matter if you're going out even in the afternoon hunt. I mean, now, obviously it's getting darker earlier. So, I mean, it's not just when you go out in those, shoot light hunts in the early morning. Obviously, you just always want to have your headlamp. But this is one I think that I kind of go back and forth on as we talked about having too much gear and, trying to stay organized. It's the spare batteries. You carry spare batteries?
They're in the bag. I think probably 2 are rusted out. I don't know. I've wasted more AAA batteries just sitting in the bottom corner of my bag than I think I've used them once, and I don't know. I think I'm out on spare batteries. Should I have it in a perfect world? Yes, but you guys know me. You're lucky if I can make it out without dumping my bag in the water. At this point, I think I need to ditch the spare batteries and just throw fresh ones in at the beginning of the hunt.
So my headlamp runs on AAA batteries, and I'm sure some listeners out there, get the rechargeable one, but my headlamp runs on AAAs. And then, we're a couple weeks off from robo-duck season, and, most of the Mojos, some of them are rechargeable, like those lithium batteries, but, like I have the Teal from Mojo. I mean, it runs on AA's. So now all of a sudden I got AA backups. I got AAA backups.
You just made me laugh. So I have, the spinners that I use, the slashers, the old school Wonder Ducks, those use, I think they're D batteries. They're huge. And I found mine at the beginning of the season. I had 4 of them in my bag. They weigh like a pound a piece. That's so funny you brought that up. D batteries in my bag.
So I don't know. you know what's going to happen? Our lamps are going to burn out on our next hunt, but I think I'm out on spare
1,000%.
batteries. I
I
mean,
think I'm out. They definitely. I think I need to abandon ship on that.
yeah, and as we go through these for the listeners, shoot us a comment. Let us know if you'd be like, you guys are dumbasses if you're if you're not carrying some of these things. But yeah, I think we're out on spare batteries. The next one, first aid kit. So this one and hear me out on this. This one I've gone back and forth on as well. So I always carry, band-aids, bandages. I get, some gauze, different things, you know, things that kind of sit flat in like a little Ziploc bag in my bag here. But I've gotten rid of the first aid kit, knock on wood here, because I have a feel, once again, my headlamp's going to die and I'm going to need a first aid kit my next hunt. But like it's so bulky, right? It comes with like that medical tape, scissors, tweezers, all these different things. And I'm like, you know what? I got a knife, I got a Leatherman, I carry electrical tape. You know what I mean? So there's different things that, if I need to use medical tape, can I not just use electrical tape until we get back to the car? And, I got a first aid kit in the back of the rig there. But what are your thoughts? I guess I've never really checked. Do you carry a first aid kit?
I carried it up until 2 years ago, and I carried like an IFAC kit, essentially exactly what you need, a tourniquet, things like that. And 2 years ago, I pulled it out because it got completely submerged and some stuff got ruined. And I kind of looked at it, and I mean, my coworkers will probably kill me. They're big just because of the work I'm in. They're big proponents of having all that kind of stuff, and I am too. But a lot of the things, like you mentioned, like I got tape. Usually, I've got belts and stuff. I'm pretty confident that I can jerry rig stuff if it's life or death. If you're bleeding and you have a cut, I'm not going to give you a band-aid, and I don't want to carry a band-aid for that. I want, if like life depends on it, I'm pretty confident in my abilities to makeshift items, if that makes any sense.
It does. And I'm going to this was going to be at the
But
end, but I am going
this
to,
might not be a popular opinion.
no, I am going to tease this because, one of the folks on Facebook said not only a first aid kit, but a lot of people commented a tourniquet and
Yep.
the quick clot gauze too, which
Yeah, I don't do the quick clot.
right. But
I'm a big fan of the gauze, but I don't do quick clot, and I have my personal reasons and from work and stuff like that. But like, even if you just had a big old roll of gauze, you're going to do great. The tourniquet is the key. I mean, for me, and I have an item. It is not an official tourniquet, but it's, I can make a tourniquet. You guys, we're all calling duck lanyards or call lanyards. Great way to get some pressure on something. You can use anything as a, blanking on the term, a windsill, not a windsill, but the thing to create the pressure on a tourniquet. That's where I'm at with that. But I definitely think it's something important, especially if you don't have any medical background. Carry the kit, because then you're using things that are designed to be used for that.
So I'm looking at this, and the whole category is about safety and survival, right? So I'm thinking, and I think you and I are both coming at this from like if we're on the refuge, right? But if I'm thinking like if you have a rice blind and you're hunting it year round, it actually wouldn't be bad to kind of put one of those in like an ammo, like just put a first aid kit in like a metal ammo can and just leave it in there,
That's
right?
a good point. I got one on my boat. It's literally like a Pelican case.
Yeah.
I'm not using my boat. I'm not using my boat during the off season. That might be something to tell Chuck. I'm going to go throw in one of our blinds. In all reality, I've heard it's just terrible to even talk about. And I think we mentioned it in one of our episodes way back about just tragedies during the season.
Sure.
Everyone's got to be gun safety. But yep. I feel like a lot of the gun issues I've heard of have been in blinds, which makes sense because guns are getting set, down next to you. So that might be the spot, but I don't know. It's definitely you got to have either a plan or a kit.
Yeah.
I've kind of moved on to a plan, and I don't think I'm necessarily right in that, but I definitely think I'm a proponent of. I'm not going to say don't pack it.
Yeah. I've already said I'm in on the next two, a knife or multi-tool. I carry a knife and, a Leatherman. It just.
So I switched. I guess when we talk later about our specific bag, but we'll circle back on that. I'm a big proponent of something sharp.
Okay. And then paracord, I don't keep it in the bag once again, and I'll just kind of tease this, and Kate and I were talking before we started recording is, we're both rocking backpacks now. And, I got the dive bomb backpack. Caden's got a Sitka backpack. And, when we both had our, like regular kind of shoulder harness blind bags, I felt like it was just, there was way more compartments to carry all this stuff. So yeah, I carried, a few feet of paracord kind of tied up, but it's just, once again, now I basically have one main compartment with a couple, ways to organize it down at the bottom half of the bag. But I guess I could just kind of put a couple feet of paracord in there because I carry zip ties. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a need for paracord one day. And I'm sure some listeners will tell us why they have it.
From the safety aspect, I had why am I blanking on my lanyard for my calls, and I had it made by a local guy down in Modesto, and he makes it with paracord, and that's actually one of the reasons I stopped carrying it, because in an emergency, I've probably got 200 feet wrapped up in my lanyard, and I have no problems cutting that up. That's my theory behind it.
Yeah, I just got one of these like shotgun hanging loops that just goes on the front end of the barrel tube instead of carrying the sling, because you haven't seen it yet, but I got one of those gear sticks now instead of using those marsh stands that we were rocking. So, the ones where like you can put it in the marsh, and then it's got like 3 or 4 different like kind of arms off it. So you can hang your backpack, you can hang your shell bag, and then you can hang your shotgun there. So, and technically that's all paracord. So if I absolutely needed to, I can cut that apart, I guess. So,
yeah. Dude, getting rid of what was that thing called? Marsh stand?
yeah,
I love that thing.
No, I mean, I still have it, but it was just something where I was trying to figure out how to go light, how to kind of, be a little more mobile.
Okay.
And just figured we'll give it a try.
Try it out. Spend some more money. I like it.
Next one, I'm pretty sure everyone has these in their bag. I even have them, early season just because they're in there from last season. But hand warmers, those kind of instant ones.
No need to tough out. If your hands are cold, your hands are cold. Get some warmers in there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. So they have hand warmers, they have the toe warmers, foot warmers, all this stuff. But I think it was last season I ran into it, and no homo on this one. I sent you the same hot hands that makes the hand warmers has a warming blanket. So
a couple blanket for 2 in the blind.
Yeah, so I guess we're talking about survival there. But I was like, what is that for? But I guess it's for if you're going to like maybe
think about, you have to move them a lot to keep them warm. So like, what do you like? Just keep rubbing yourself, shaking that thing.
Yeah,
it's classic.
Sticking with staying warm, and this kind of the last one on the safety and survival: lighters or a fire starter for those cold mornings or emergencies. We were talking about it. Yeah, I don't carry the fire starter. I mean, I have a lighter in the bag because every now and then I like to smoke a cigar out there if the hunt gets slow or whatnot. But and then
you're maybe I'm thinking some of the hunts I've done out of California are like if you're out in the just backwoods, but I don't know many duck hunters that aren't, within a couple miles of their car, if that makes sense. Like if like deer hunting,
I was gonna say,
you could be 10, 20 miles out, 30 miles out, or even there's 10 miles with, big old mountain ranges in between you. Whereas duck hunting, I'm like, man, we're in marshes. I can't think of where I would really need a fire starter, but I'll probably need a fire starter, batteries, and a tourniquet on my next hunt.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. I think like if we're looking at our waterfowl blind bag, that's one thing, but like a deer pack or any sort of big game hunting, I'm most likely keeping a fire starter in there. I mean, same thing. I don't even see like a life straw on here. I mean, do you need it, right? So
a life straw. That's not a bad idea for the water solution.
Yeah.
Right out of the pond? Gross.
So the next kind of section for the essentials that we all carry, obviously our license and paperwork. So, everything's going digital these days, but, we still have our paper license, our stamps, all that stuff. I'll keep my, what do you call it? My refuge passes in there. Sorry, I couldn't even think of what they were called. But I think, you're probably on board with that stuff too.
Yep.
So the third section here is calling and kind of our bird gear. So the lanyard with the duck calls, and I mean, we've talked about it. You got your lanyard in there, you got your duck calls. I mean, everyone's different on what they have on that lanyard. Some folks go more whistles, some have the calls. I don't know if you have it, but I rock the finisher on my lanyard as well. This next one, and And I talked about it a few episodes ago. Like, I am not a great duck caller by any means, but like I master the whistle. But this one here, and I'm actually curious. Do you carry extra call reeds?
I do, oh, it's funny you say that. I used to, but so I buy mine at Kittles because I run a Lair's hybrid, and I bought them now twice over the because they wear out. I mean, you can definitely tell a difference, but they're in a Ziploc bag. And the first time I threw them away because I also will go on this later in what I carry, but I'm a PB&J guy in a Ziploc. So when I cleaned out my blind bag, I threw away like $12 worth of reeds. So then I doubled down and put them in a drawer at my house, and my wife tripled down and threw away my reeds. So I used to have reeds, but no, I think the waste management dump down the street from the house has more reeds than I do at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure some guys out there that, you know, I don't know, some of those like expert callers
That's
or
just kind of
whatnot.
like batteries. If you're running your call a lot, have it in your truck, give it some calls. You'll know it's not gonna. I mean, maybe I'm not knowledgeable enough in calling, but I'm not good enough either. My call, if it's good on the first time I blow it at the beginning of my hunt, it's good probably for the next
Sure.
3 or 4 hunts.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be curious if guys are switching out or replacing reeds mid hunt, but I'm sure it happens. You know, this one was new to me, but obviously there's better callers out there. This one called for a small bottle of call conditioner or a spit rack.
No way.
Yeah, man,
No.
that's when I was online. And
That's why I love it.
and
I'm gonna
honestly,
get you a bottle of call conditioner.
well, so I'll be honest. I googled it, right? And this is what came up. And people might be like, "Oh, you've never heard of these?" I've never heard of them. Call condoms or rubbers. Like, and I literally am looking at the pictures of them, and they literally just slide
That's
onto
weird.
your.
It's asking if I'm 18 years old or older to go on this website. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I'm curious, you know. I mean, I feel like most guys just throw them in like the little pouch that they come in, you know, like the little sunglass pouch or something like that. But I don't know. The condom and rubber, I don't know about that. I think I'm out on that one.
yeah, I mean, shoot. I'll throw our boy Chuck under. I mean, that guy's his call's got more Copenhagen in it than it does air, and that thing blows just fine.
Yeah. And then this last one, you know what's funny on this is I've heard guys go back and forth. The game tote, the bird strap. And the reason why people go back and forth, you know, it's kind
Dude,
of
it's a
like,
curse.
so that's exactly it, man. It's kind of like when I go fishing and, you know, put out, you know, you're getting set up, you got your rod holder, you're doing some bank fishing and whatnot. You got the rod holders out, and then you're just getting set up and, you know, pull out the stringer and like clockwork. And he was going to jump on this episode, but something came up. But our buddy Pete, he goes fishing with us quite a bit, and he says, "Will you put that fucking thing away? That is bad luck, right?" And so
I'm with Pete on this. I
same
haven't.
thing. You pulled the toad out, right? So I will say,
Hmm.
I do have the bird strap. It's at the bottom of the bag because obviously when I'm, you know, at the end of the hunt, you got more than a couple birds. It's easy to put them on there, and you know, as you're kind of, you know, loading up the rig and everything, or getting checked out at the check station, it just makes things easier, and it kind of preserves them, and you know, they're not getting smashed by all your gear. So I guess I'm
This
in
might be
on
this might be the base. Go ahead.
I'm in on it, but leave it in the bag until you.
Yeah, this is the baseball in me. So I'm pro bird strap, but you can't consciously manipulate the bird strap at any portion of the hunt, and that means from your house all the way to the moment you're out in the blind. And my thought is, so like right now I don't have one because I left it at my cousin's house. He says I didn't leave it there. So I have no strap. I know it was in his truck, but I haven't got it back in about 18 months, which is fine. I'm not bitter about it at all. That being said, I can't consciously go out and buy another one and put it in my bag because then there will be no birds. But if I tactically acquire a different one and then it just happens to cycle in and out of the bag, it should be fine. I'm very superstitious on this. It's kind of like that evening hunt shell run, and I'll dive into that later. But like if you make a move in the expectation to keep shooting birds, there's probably not going to be birds.
Yeah,
So I'm in on the superstition. Do what
yeah,
you got to do to get the birds to come.
yeah. I'll tell you what though. Like I was hunting the other day, and what I do like about it though is, you know, it was a morning hunt, and actually as like the kind of morning went on, it started to get a little warmer, and I had the birds kind of laid out in order as I was shooting them, so that way I kind of knew kind of how the flow of the hunt was going. And I was like, I just got to get these birds in the shade, right? So, you know, put them on the strap, hung them in the blind, you know, just get them out. So But
No,
yeah, I'm with you on that.
and a lot of the guys I hunt, if I had all the money in the world and I knew I was hunting A minus property on its worst day, I'd probably run a strap because I'm, those ones, it is what it is. You're going to get your limit. But I'm talking when, because when I go hunt, I'd love to say I get a limit every time, or I know I am, but it's usually all or nothing. And so I'm playing all the superstition I can get to not get those nothing hunts.
Yeah.
I think that's all of us refuge rats, though. Like, usually you can scrape a couple by, but it's not like a guarantee you're going to go shoot 7 ducks on
Yeah.
any given Sunday.
Yep. Shells. So going into the shooting setup, this will be the last section of kind of those essentials that everyone should carry. Obviously,
3
shells.
boxes, got it.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, yeah. I was curious how many you like to bring out there, but obviously most of us, are, public land hunting
20,
and
25.
yeah, 25, right? But it's funny when I get the invite to go or I go hunt private or whatnot, I feel like, why is it then all of a sudden I put 2 or 3 boxes in the bag? Once again, it goes back to weight, right?
And then shells get heavy.
Exactly. So I don't know. It's one of those because I can, and it's not because I'm shooting well. It's normally the flight, but it's like you don't need more than a box. Maybe you might, if you're having an off day, you might need like a couple extra shells, but definitely not more than 2 or 3. It was nice.
If birds are flying and you're shooting good shots, even if you're missing, you should 25. I get it. Maybe 26, 27, 28 shells. And that's not a great day of shooting. I'm going to be honest, but like you should be there. You and I've hunted with you for years. Like we've both made the walk of shame, and I would honestly say usually that's it's user error, or if we're taking maybe back in the day. We haven't done it in years.
I was just going to say I have not done it in a very long time.
It's probably been 4 years. So, but back in the day, especially when I was learning, I think I was the runner. I mean, it was like I need to go get shells again because you're taking pokes that you shouldn't, and that's part of the learning curve. I'm not endorsing, taking shots you can't hit, but 25 shells, it's a good number, and it keeps you. I now hunt some areas where it doesn't, or private, but it doesn't matter. And I find myself, if I know I have a shitload of shells, I'm going to shoot a shitload of shells. So it keeps me honest if I try to keep it to that 25.
Yeah, it's funny. Once again, even like, and there's going to be guys out there that are, what's that saying, dead-eyed dick or whatever, like, Johnny hit everything, but like
only shoot 7 shells every time he hunts.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be guys out there that are going to be laughing at us, whatever on this one. But, it's funny. I think like early season, and I was thinking of kind of like our first hunt together this season. It was a slow start, I think, for both of us, but definitely for me, where like I missed on a couple birds where it's like, damn.
That first hunt we had together, we should have.
Yeah, you're going to run through shells and you're like, oh shit. But then all of a sudden you kind of settle in, you get your groove, and all of a sudden, then you start getting like, one shot, one bird, maybe 2 shells to a bird, whatever it might be, trying to chase that double. But no, you settle in for sure. So this next one, I think, the shell belt or a dump pouch. It's funny. Like when I first started waterfowl hunting, you go there to Bass Pro or Guns, Fishing, other stuff, Kittles, whatever, and you're just kind of buying all the accessories and the shell belt, that kind of neoprene Rambo style belt,
Yeah.
I had that.
Going to war, baby.
Yeah, I had that, but I quickly got rid of that thing. I think, I know you rock your shell pouch. I really like, and I got it from you, but, just the hard plastic case, that it's good.
That's my refuge go.
Yeah.
I know what he's referring to. So I shoot Boss. I think I've mentioned that, but I've always kind of bounced back and forth. But lately, I mean, I'm 100%. This year is 100% Boss. Last year was about 80%, and it's kind of gone up from there. But I'm shooting my 20 gauge. I haven't even pulled out my 12 yet, and I like that little wax bag that Boss gives. I shoot some shells out of it. I put garbage in at the end of the hunt. I do like it, but when I hunt a refuge, for the love of God, because I'm not going to have Johnny Green Jeans count me 26 shells. I fill the plastic thing up. That way I can whip it open. He looks at it and I leave.
So, and I didn't tell you this, but this was like last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm kind of in between a couple different shells this season, but obviously my go-to that I probably shoot 75-80% of the time. I'm a Kent fast still guy, and I know that Boss has that wax bag. Well, so does Kent. So I go online and I'm like, I think I was trying to buy that and like a sweatshirt from them or something. And so I'm through checkout and everything, and they can't ship to California. You have to go
Dude,
through an
how dare
FFL.
you ship something that might have
No, like
anything related to a firearm to California
no, and that's what's crazy is like I had to select like an FFL to sign to
for a sweatshirt in a bag?
yeah, and I think it's just because like shipping like shells and whatnot. So anyway, so I was out on that one, but so I still got my plastic box.
Well, dude, I got plenty of them. I'll throw one your way. It's the least I could do for you shouldering all the weight of this podcast.
Extra chokes. I think that we're both.
I'm out on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I am too. When I was rocking,
I'm guilty as charged, though.
No, it's one of those.
There's been times where I've looked like an end cap at Sportsman's with like 6 different chokes, and like it looked like a NASCAR pit stop when I thought birds might come in at a distance. I'm over it.
So I think as you evolve and you kind of, realize what kind of shooter you are, what kind of shots you like to take. But I'm out on it. A couple of seasons ago, I kind of put the kibosh on this one. But when I was rocking like the Kicks high flyer chokes, I had a modified, a full, and an extra full, right? Depending on what kind of hunt I was going to do that day, how I was shooting, how the birds were working. I really never, to be honest with you, I never used the extra full. I think it was more one of those like, oh, wow, they have an extra full choke, and I just bought it.
Yep.
So shotgun choke wrench. This one I don't carry, but
I guess it goes hand in hand with the choke. Well, no.
So the finisher,
we do have our
finisher. So that's what I was going to say.
Finisher.
So for those of you guys that rock the finisher, you guys know that that's also a choke wrench. I do carry gun oil. I don't know. Do you? I mean, as long as one guy in the group has it, I guess. But I do carry gun oil.
That's a good point. I actually used to always carry gun oil, and I ran out, and I haven't refilled it.
Yeah, and then
but that's a Winchester thing. I've had so many issues with not issues. I don't want to. I just it's more of how I've maintained my gun, not an issue with the gun. But there's been some field strips with the Winchester, and a little gun oil will get you through any. I mean, a lot of gun oil can get almost any gun to work, and then you got to clean it way up after. So I always did carry it.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep your gun properly maintained, you shouldn't need to put too much oil in the field, if at all. But we know sometimes it happens. So
I'm a realistic hunter. I got kids. Sometimes my gun comes from a hunt, goes right up against, doesn't even make it to the safe, and it may sit for a day or two or until the next hunt.
Yeah. And then this one's interesting. I definitely don't keep these in the bag, but they're in the garage. Snap caps for safety checks. I have them for every caliber, every gauge gun that I have, just to, that way we're not dry firing there. But yeah, I don't keep those.
Yeah, I have them for my handguns. I've never thought about doing it for shotgun. But I'm not going to shy away from anything that says safety. So if you feel like it's way to go.
It's interesting, and I don't know if a snap cap would, and I'll have to maybe ask Grayson about this, because he was talking about, like if you submerge your gun or you get just a little bit of, dirt or debris or mud in the barrel that, obviously you could blow the barrel, all this different stuff. So I wonder if snap caps is a way to kind of do a safety check on that. We'll have to check. But yeah, I don't carry those in the bag. So let's run through this next section. So this next section, we're calling the gear no one talks about but saves you every time. Kind of the, quote, smart guy gear, those quiet MVPs of the duck hunt. So this is probably the guy that has, I don't know, I guess you can always count on him. And, like I said, I probably have half of these things. But
I hope you mean all those things you're saying, because, man, I got a few of these. You might have. I'm evolving. I might be.
Yeah.
You've got some years on me, but I got a lot of these. I got some clever ones too.
So let's run through. So zip ties. I'm a zip tie guy.
Check.
Yeah, zip ties have so many different uses
Depending
out
on
in the
the
field.
hunt, I will say if I know the cover I'm going into and I can get rid of but if I know I'm hunting public, zip ties all day.
Dude, zip ties and the next one's electrical tape. I mean, zip ties, electrical tape.
I don't carry electrical. You got me there.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I was hunting.
What are you using it for?
So this is what's interesting. I was hunting with a guy that he had like a part of like his stock was coming up. It was like it wasn't like an unsafe thing, but just kind of to seal the gun.
The recoil pad?
Yeah, something like that. So I mean, it just kind of gets you through the hunt and stuff. Like I said, I figure electrical tape. It's so small.
Honestly, it's not bad. I might throw that in there.
it has so many different uses that,
Does
there's,
well in water.
yeah, exactly. So a small towel or microfiber cloth. We actually talked about this a couple weeks ago because shout out Robert from the Filthy Spoon. This is the one thing that never leaves his bag. So, I just threw one in this past week actually, just because with the storms coming and all that stuff. He said it. He's right. Dry hands. Keep you warm. All that different stuff. If you need to clean something on your gun, clean something out, which is good to have. So I just keep a microfiber cloth in the bag. How about you?
Yeah, I've gone in and out, so I think that's something that's a good point on the dry hands. I've always kept it for like sunglasses. I shouldn't say always. If it's raining or something like that, or if it's gonna be foggy, I'll have some sort of towel because I've tried using my clothes and it just doesn't work. But that's not a bad idea, just to kind of keep one permanent. It's not definitely not a permanent fixture in my bag, but
So
here we go. Now I'm adding stuff. I'm trying to cut weight here, and you're adding every ounce counts, and now I got to tell. Screw
yeah,
it.
for
It's gonna
sure.
happen though.
But once again, some of these things, it's like maybe you have like your refuge pack, and then some of these you just kind of leave in the blind. Just like I said, get one of those ammo cans or something and just leave it in there.
Yeah,
This one here, extra gloves. I'll tell you what, I don't even have original gloves.
I have two.
And
I
my
have two sets.
dude, well, and I know one time, God, it was a couple seasons ago, and we got caught, and it was the last Wednesday of the
Oh,
season. We were hunting public. I think we were at like Sac or Delvin, and we were in a good
okay.
storm, man, and it was cold, freezing, all that stuff. And you actually hooked me up with a pair of gloves. But I will tell you what, my whole issue is, and I mean, either you or someone who listens, shoot us a comment, let me know. But I just can't find good gloves out there that like I can, still I don't have to take them off to load the shotgun, to get something out of my bag, to pull the trigger, all these different things. So, and then really, if they're not waterproof, what's kind of the point? I don't want to water resistant, all that stuff. So I don't know. It has to be pretty damn cold for me to need gloves. I will tell you what, it's been a long time and since I've done this, but like years ago, I would go on the Sac River with Garza on his boat, and you're out there, and when you're cruising from one spot to the other, and you're just kind of standing up there acting as a windshield for him, dude, you need those gloves, man. It's freezing. So
I will
I
say,
guess it depends on where I'm going.
I mean, I have a duck boat. I don't. I've used it very minimally. I'll get into it, but neither here nor there. But I will say, on a boat, get the best gloves you have. I don't care if they're freaking purple, because the worst day I've had is going out in the mud motor. Your hands are out there. You can't even touch anything. So I will say that. And that's actually how gloves got in my bag. And I carry kind of like they're Sitka gloves. I have like a snowboarding style ones. Like they got the insulation.
Sure.
And then I have more of like a skin fit, again, Sitka glove, not waterproof. One thing I'll say is, like, if you wear gloves, make sure you go shoot your gun once, take it to the range or take it out to a buddy's property, get a feel for it. Because just back to that safety thing, you get excited. Some people, if you don't practice shooting gloves, and that's, handgun, pistol, rifle, then you shouldn't be shooting with gloves ever. And so it's definitely something I think is very important. I practice shooting with gloves on a regular basis just for my own purposes of in life and what I do. But if you don't practice with it can become a hindrance. And yeah, but I do carry two pairs of gloves. It's funny you say that. And I'm glad you remember what I gave you a pair, because that's what keeps those good refuge invites coming.
Yeah. These last few are in the same category as kind of like the gear no one talks about, but I kind of disagree with this. Like, I feel like we all talk about this, especially here in NorCal. So, bug spray during
Yeah.
the early season, like a Thermacell.
Thermacell.
I think we
Yeah.
all have those. Like, we make sure that those
Less
are
people,
charged.
no one I've hunted with this year, Brandon, has had a Thermacell. I
Hmm.
think they're fools, because you and I rock one. There could be pterodactyl mosquitoes. We put those puppies on. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it works. So
Oh, for sure.
that could be a podcast sponsor. We should reach out to them. I guarantee there's not a waterfowl podcast out there looking for Thermacell
That's
sponsors,
a good idea.
because I'm an advocate.
Battery pack for, just whatever, but I put on here battery pack for the iPhone, because we're using different apps, whether it's Onyx, weather apps.
It's a good call. I mean,
Hunt gets
I try to,
slow.
I get it.
Yeah. So that's good to have. And then that probably even goes into like the safety and survival one, right?
Hmm.
Earplugs, I feel like you're back and forth on this. I've really tried to make sure that I'm wearing hearing protection. Obviously, just with like my prescription glasses or sunglasses, I feel like I'm always wearing, eye protection, but ear protection is pretty big for me. Just I feel like the last couple seasons were times where I've forgotten or maybe I had it out and then all of a sudden, some birds were coming in and I didn't put them back in where let's say it was a weekend hunt, my ear's still ringing on Tuesday or Wednesday. So I'm trying to get,
Yeah, we're
way
just
better
getting
at
old.
Yeah.
I haven't committed to it. For me, because obviously I'm a world-class caller, I feel like it affects me. I haven't done it, and there's no good excuse. You should, especially if you're new getting into duck hunting, just put the earplugs in now,
Yeah.
because then you'll know nothing otherwise.
This next one this was funny because this was me early on, but the toilet paper in a Ziploc, and I'm laughing about it because I used to bring the whole roll out.
Did you really?
There's
Gross.
like the whole roll in like a Ziploc bag. Dude, and just picture like the bulky roll, and it's like, do you need that, right? So then obviously like you get the travel wet wipes. I've been really big on dude wipes lately, for multiple reasons. Obviously for, those times where you have to hop in the toolies like a normal person and we don't shit in the blind like, couple episodes ago. But even like the dude wipes at the end of the hunt, getting out of your gear or whatever, I just like to kind of wipe down with those, before you start heading home. Just feels fresh after that. And then, which actually, now that I think about it, I was the MVP on this one because our first hunt, was it because your bag, did you not have, or was it in your bag?
No, I didn't have.
Okay.
I didn't have.
Okay.
I have kids now, dude. I'm losing my mind.
Okay, because I remember that you were
MVP.
Well, because you were you were walking around the pond with Rooster and just kind of checking things out. It was the flight had kind of slowed down, and then you come back and you're like, hey, throw away the wipes. And I just thought it was because you weren't in the blind. So, but oh man,
no, it was a code bronze. We had to book it back over to a nice little island I found. Whew. No, it's funny. Did you see that post? There's a post on one of the refuge forums about Beale Air Force Base and some guy, and I think they shouted out dude wipes because one guy, obviously I'm not military, so I didn't hunt that, but some guy, I guess, was waders down to his ankles on the side of the highway, just leaving again. I'm like, God, what's going on with people? I mean, have some dignity. Find a tooling patch.
Yeah, for sure. And then this last one, I think we talked about this during the pet peeve episode. I've tried to get better. I just throw like a little small like grocery bag or a small trash bag in there, clean up your stuff, pick up your.
I hunted with a guy last weekend. He had like a little mesh bag. That was cool because it just everything gets wet.
Yeah.
And waterfowl, and he used a mesh, especially picking up shells. They're all wet, or at least more. They're probably on the shoreline. So that was cool. I liked that. I was like, I'm gonna try to keep my eye out for like something that my kids' toys come in and put that in.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into this next one here. So we talked about kind of the things that weigh down the bag. So we've gone through the essentials, some of the gear we need for the hunt. Now this is kind of all those comfort items, the food, the snacks, the coffee, stuff like that. So, obviously for like some of those longer hunts, it's good, to obviously have a thermos of coffee or hot chocolate. I'm not a coffee guy, definitely not making hot chocolate for the hunt, but I'm a Red Bull guy.
I'll bring you a cup next time.
Yeah. Water bottle, obviously. And I said on here, make sure you keep that spare in the bag for the emergency. And this is kind of that secret of the pros I was teasing about from Chuck. So last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I was out on the refuge, had a mile and a half walk out to the blind. I get to, you're walking down the road and you drop the cart. I'm pulling the sled through the water, and this blind I was on was pretty deep off the road too. So, you finally get there, and, after about 30-40 minutes from the rig, you're just like, hey, I'm going to get some water. I'm like, where the fuck's my water bottle? Like, I couldn't find it. Like, and I rocked one of those Yeti water bottles. I keep it on the side of my bag, and I knew I had it on there. So it must have fallen out of my pack. So I'm like, fuck, like, this happened the other day because I'm big into like chewing sunflower seeds when I hunt. So naturally I just get real thirsty. So fortunately, because I was running out of water on a previous hunt, I just decided to throw an extra like Costco water bottle in the in the sled when I was leaving the car, and then I had a one of those Element electrolyte packs. So basically, talk about survival. I basically was like only limited to my hunt by like, hey, the birds were slowing down, but I was also running out of water and everything.
Yep.
So Chuck told me, and this was kind of smart. He's like, dude, I just keep a bottle of water in my bag. Sometimes I even forget it's in there, but it's just there at the bottom for like those emergencies, right? And it doesn't have to be just for thirst, but maybe you need to, I don't know, wash out a wound, or not a wound, but a cut or something. You know what I mean? It could be anything. But I was like, that's pretty good. So yeah, now I got the just a regular plastic water bottle in the bottom of the bag here. But now I got to get another Yeti bottle because I like to rock that plastic Yeti bottle versus
Oh, you
like,
lost it.
yeah, I lost it. Like I even when I was walking back thinking like, oh, I'll find it here along the trail or whatever. And yeah, I
Nope.
never found it. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not worried about it, but yeah. So
Yeah, dude, this would be a good experiment because I have a lot of reusable waters just because that's what marketing has made the world nowadays, which is good. I'm all for save the planet, I guess. But I wonder if it's better to go reusable, like plastic water bottle, higher volume. Because like at the end of the day, we're hunting in the cold. I don't need an insulated bottle.
we used to do
Remember
that
the
all
old
the we used to do that all the
Remember the old Nalgene?
yeah. Yeah.
That might be the way to go. More volume, less. I don't need all that cushion to keep my water cold because at the
Oh,
end of the day, it's freaking cold already, and
so
they're lighter too.
so that's what I'm talking about. That's what I had from Yeti, not the big hard metal insulated one, but they make like basically the
A
Nalgene or whatever. Yeah,
non-insulated.
yeah, non-insulated. So it was like it was super light. So it was great. But I thought you were going down where when we first started hunting or just kind of going out doing things, whether it was fishing, camping, whatever, you're packing up your bag. We would just grab like the Aquafinas or the Costco waters and
Yeah,
throw
and those are
those
always
in.
the emergency ones.
But no,
But
but
I'm
we
like,
would
yeah,
we would carry them in the pack, and then obviously you just kind of smash them down when you're done, and you're lightening your load as you go. But
I think I'm a fan of those. I'm gonna go back to. I always keep. I'm with Chuck. I always keep a little, what are they, 12 ounce, the classic Costco pack. I
yeah,
just throw one in. It's in the bottom, but it usually tastes funny because it's been there for a
yeah,
while. But like at the end of the day, you need it. But I'm a huge water drinker. Like I drink a ton of water.
oh yeah,
So
same.
that's been a struggle this past year for me because I'm like, man, I'm trying to cut weight. And then I hunt with my kids and they can't carry anything. So now I'm playing the water bottle game.
Yeah,
It's no bueno.
this
Life
one,
straw.
this this one's new for me. I keep like the electrolyte packet in there because I mean it's easier than carrying a whole like another Gatorade or something. Just carry a little powder packet and then just the one
Yeah,
water
they're
bottle.
good.
So
I'm a big, was
whether
it
it's the
LMNT or
yeah
element as the
yeah
cool people call it?
yeah those or the liquid IVs, whatever you like. All right, let's get into snacks. All right. So once again, like these are kind of the bare minimums that I like to carry, but
This is the most important section.
but sometimes, it's like, why did I pack so much shit for a 3 hour hunt? You just never know how
Hmm.
long you're going to be out. So normally, like I'll eat, have like a bagel or something like kind of light, like before we start, heading out to the blind. But I take with me normally like a sandwich, those jerky sticks from Costco, like those chomps, or even Costco has some now, like the protein bar. That's a good snack if you just need something light. And then I already said, like I'm big on sunflower seeds. I know some people probably get pissed because it makes such a mess in and around the blind, but I try to spit them out in the pond. uh,
Yeah.
what about
At
you?
least it's natural.
Yeah, what's your go-to? I feel like you always have a PB&J. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, no, and
Oh,
you,
go
you
ahead.
you turned me on to this season, and actually, I got a couple packs in the pantry here. Those dried fruits, that dried mango, that's good too.
Dried mango. I usually have one snack, and it's usually, if I'm going to have it, it's going to be like dried mango, or I'll have an actual banana or an actual apple. And then 1 to 2 PB&Js always. And then I have 2 protein bars in there. And I like to bring seeds, but the best thing about this is if you know who you're hunting with, aka if I'm hunting with Brandon, I don't got to bring seeds because he's got them,
Yeah,
and he
that's a
may
good
not
point.
know this, but I just steal his seeds almost every time. But I'm a big seeds guy. There's certain people if that like I don't ever bring a thermos out, but I know if I go hunt with one of my buddies, he's gonna have hot chocolate for the kids and coffee for me, and I'm like perfect. So I scale back. Maybe I don't bring my Celsius out.
So this one, I feel like it's been a couple seasons since I've done it, but do you remember what my kind of go-to move was for the group?
Was it the Reeds
The Reeds,
or the Jet Boy? Yeah, the
well,
Reeds.
both, but the Reeds,
The Reeds
the
was your
breakfast
move.
burritos, and I got that from, Garza started doing those when I first started hunting, and it's a great move. You make them the night before, you can either preheat them in the trailer or whatever, but hey, they're actually not that bad cold out in the middle of the day. He'd even bring out the little smallest jar of Tapatio. We were set up, man. So,
I will say, because now I mean, I hunt probably. I was looking back on my hunt notes. I hunt on average 20 to 30 times a year. I don't get much more than 30, and I haven't had a season less than 20. So 20 to 30 is my number. But I will say, 5, 6 seasons in now, and I consider myself a beginner, but at least I'm not afraid to go try some out. My hunts have gotten shorter because I either know when to call it, or I get my limit, or
I was
or
just
at
gonna
least the
say
limit
that.
I'm shooting for.
Yep, I was just gonna say
But
that.
man, when you're first starting out, like you can't have enough food.
Yep. Oh,
Because
yep,
how many times have we been out there and you're like, Hayden, we're not hunting tip to tip. And I'm like, we need to get more birds.
for
And
sure.
there hasn't been a bird in 3 hours.
Oh, that's exactly it. Is like, you know, when I first started hunting, I would go shoot light to shoot light or tip to tip, like we like to call it. And sometimes, like, you would go back just to go maybe get another box of shells, but also maybe grab like another sandwich or something out of the cooler or whatever.
There's not many
Or you
people
just
willing
brought
to
all that
admit,
shit with you out to the blind.
yeah.
But now, man, like, I feel like I haven't hunted past, God, like, what, 10, 30, maybe? How have we, like, honestly,
When we, no, the first
think
hunt
about
of
the
the year,
last,
we stayed out, but that was because of the situation. There wasn't flight, but we're like, hey, when are we going to hunt here again? Let's hang out.
yeah,
But
and then we were going back for lunch anyway. So it's like we didn't really have anywhere to
there was
go.
nowhere to be until lunch.
That was still about
But no, I don't
10:30.
hunt. That was 10:30.
So, I mean,
I'm trying to
if the
think.
birds are there, if they're flying, we'll hang out, right? But like, I'm
I
not,
hunt. Oh, I did hunt. I had my limit. I was part of a hunt because I mean we were shooting 5 guys, so we were scraping out the last bit of our limit,
well, and I
and we
know,
hunted late. But like I
well,
was dying because I only packed for about 2 hours worth of hunting.
well, we all know those guys that, maybe it's a Wednesday and you know what? We got to get out of the blind. We got meetings, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
We just take your work calls in the blind. I'm telling you, I got to go over those stories one day.
yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll say it. There's been times where I've been with maybe even a coworker, and so hey, we're doing business out in the blind, but I'd say like, hey, I got a call for the next 10 minutes. I don't care if the bird just comes in, CWA logo, wings cupped up, everything. Let it
Mhm.
go, let it go.
You can't shoot.
Yeah. Well, right on. Well, I know we're getting close to an hour here. Maybe we just kind of go through kind of our setup real quick and kind of what we carry. I know we kind of talked a little bit about it, but I'll go first. We talked a little bit about, the shoulder blind bag, the Rig'em Right, the Drake, whatever. Every brand makes them. I rocked that forever, and couple years ago I
The
went
lunchbox.
yeah, exactly, the big one with all the compartments. And dude, my Drake bag that I had forever was the best, and I'm sure other ones are like this, but it had the little flap with like the clear compartment so you could put like the
Hmm.
refuge map on it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like how many times were people actually like they show the picture online of the guy lifting it and like his headlamp, dude, as soon as my headlamp like it glared I couldn't see anything on it. But no, that thing was legit. It's a cool floating bag, fit in the sled. It was just a great bag. But I went to a backpack a few years ago just out of convenience, and this season it's actually brand new, but I'm rocking the Dive Bomb, the zippered waterproof backpack, and a lot of this came out of necessity. We've had some crazy storms the last couple of seasons, and I got really tired of the backpack that I was using from another brand. Loved it, stayed
Not
organized, all that
waterproof.
stuff. But yeah, after a good solid storm, I'd have to go home and like pull all the shit out of the bag and like let it dry in the garage for, a few days or whatever, and then put it back in here. So yeah, I'm rocking the Dive Bomb. I like it. I love it. It's awesome. So I'll go through my stuff real quick. I got my bag right here in front of me. Let's see what we got here. So let's go through real quick. So I started carrying, and I don't know if you've seen this yet, Caden. So I don't know. It's like this like little like case thing, and I got everything in here. that like I don't really need day in day out every hunt, but it's good to have. And one thing I'll shout out that's in here. I'm sorry, I was trying to set the phone back up here. Or I'm just gonna lay it down for a sec. In here, I keep the Leatherman zip ties per Grayson. I actually just added these a couple weeks ago. A handful of Q-tips, the gun oil. I got a charger in here. But what's cool on this one, what's also in here, and you'll love it, and then I'll show it to you here, but then I'll tell the listeners. The
Nope, gotta have it.
So I was just showing Caton the Lemaster Method, the Waterfowl ID book. So by Richard Lemaster. Shout out old Dick Lemaster there. But this book's great. I think it's like $9 or $10 on Amazon, and I don't
Real
care.
good early season.
Yeah, I don't care how seasoned of a hunter you are. Like, this is just good to have. And I'll tell you what, I actually had a debate with a person at the check station the other day because I was 99% sure that this bird was what I thought it was, and they tried to say it was something else, and I basically showed them this, and they're like, oh, you're right. So it's good to have, good to know what you're shooting, but it's cool. You look up like beak, wings, all that different stuff, early season, drake, hens, all that. So take a peek at that. What else do I got in here? So I got the Thermacell still, the bug spray, keep the wipes in here. And then at the very bottom, I already said it's in there. I got the game tote hidden in there. And then got the call lanyard, a couple different calls on there, the finisher, the widgeon whistle. Got my new pintail call. Shout out Shannon Kelly, game calls there. So thank you, Shannon Kelly, for that one. Got the water bottle per chuck, that kind of emergency bottle. And then I don't know if it was on here, but obviously the headlamp, but the flashlight too. So that's good to have. Obviously that one's, I feel like it's brighter. You can see further distance than the headlamp. And then in the front pouch here, keep my license, my earplugs. What else is in there? That's kind of it for now. Yeah, man, that's pretty much my setup, and there's no real way to kind of organize this. Like I said, it just being a backpack now, I pretty much kind of keep that. That's about a third to a half full that way, but then you figure you put some snacks on there, and then the last couple of hunts, I haven't needed it, but just in case I rolled up my like Sitka shell and just kind of packed it in there, and before you know it, your backpack's full. So that's my setup, man. What are you rocking?
Mine has been super simple this year. I mean, we talked about a bunch of things that I say I have or should have, and then there's the realistic side of what I've been running. So, I mean, I got 2 pairs of gloves, so I guess that wasn't a lie. I got hand warmers. The batteries are out. I actually, for this episode, went and, I was going through it like you just were, and I threw the last 2 AAAs that were just dangling in the bottom. I got my Streamlight, my flashlight. I recommend getting a good flash. You can get away with the cheap one, actually. I mean, just get something with, an LED. It's got some good coverage. I run probably a little bit overkill, a good Streamlight. It cost me a couple $100, but it does. I mean, it's a good torch, and it charges well and has interchangeable batteries. It's probably overkill. I'd be curious. I mean, my headlamp, I run the Energizer, like the Costco pack essentially of headlamps. Because I've bought it. Actually, I have another one. It's in my barn, and I should maybe either A, return it, or B, use it. But you see some people out there with great Chuck has a good headlamp. It has almost like flashlight capabilities. But I just need something that works. And like headlamps get tossed to the side, they get wet. I don't know. I've never found a good headlamp that is worth the money yet. And I know I've even Googled and looked.
So I like mine. I rock that black diamond one. It's good.
I tried it. I didn't like it. I tried it last season.
Yeah, different modes, different brightness levels. What I like is when you're sitting in the blind after you're all set up, or we're kind of hanging out for 30 minutes or so, just waiting for shoot light, and I can have that little like kind of red lamp or blue, green,
the
whatever.
red.
It's nice. But yeah, I know the Energizer one that you're talking about. I think I have one of those in my glove box in my car just to kind of have. And I think I've had it forever, but
I've had the same one up until this season. I've had the Energizer only, and I bought probably 2 or 3 trying to like upgrade because I'm like, hey man, I'm into hunting. This is my thing. Like, why don't I spend? And every time it either A breaks or I return it, and I go back to the Energizer. So this year, the Energizer finally was done. I mean, it had too many storms. So I bought a new 3-pack, and I'm like, dude, this is gonna last me like 12 years. This is crazy. $26. And I
Well,
do carry the nice flashlight. So any sort of like actual light penetration I need. Hey, penetration.
well, I was gonna say, well,
Um,
it's it doesn't matter if it's Energizer or whatever the brand is, as long as it's bright enough to tell those fucking kids in free roam, hey, I'm already here.
I'm already here.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing.
You
I'm,
know,
I'm a big
let
Energizer
me, let me
guy.
let me cut you off real quick. You know what I'm out on, and some guys might be like, "Oh, they're the best" or whatever. I'm out on, and they're so fucking bulky, dude. It's the miners almost light. You know, the one that kind of like it wraps
So
around,
that's the one.
and the
Yeah.
strap goes over
It's
your
got like
head too. Three
three
strap.
flashlights
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
So I have that in my barn. I'm gonna go take a look at it after we're done recording. I'm gonna send you a picture to see how good it is. But I think the Energizer. I'm sorry if you got a flashlight. I mean, I guess if you don't want to carry a flashlight, but you got to have a flashlight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've
Um.
hunted with a guy though who's the only one out with an iPhone light, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Hey, one last thing. This is in the bag too. I got my magnet pickup stick here. So when you're kind of
That's a good one.
when you're sitting in the blind, I think it's like 3 feet or whatever. You can kind of reach out, pick up your shells and everything.
Yeah.
But
The big one for me, I mean, everything else. I mean, I got my hand warmers, but it's like two gloves, a flashlight, and a headlamp. I carry an extra honker call, but that's because I hunt up north and I'm not hunting golf courses down in the Sac Valley, so I don't have honker. I can't get 10 honkers. But when we go up north, you can get two. Dumbest rule ever. But so I do carry it on an off lanyard just in case there are honkers. I'm not great at it, but it's nice to give it a shot. I've gotten a couple this year. And then I carry the old Corona clippers. No one, anyone who's a dad was ever a landscaper, but Corona, the little hand clippers that you'd like trim your rose bush with, because I'm a big fan of cover. If there's some already down branches, you can't go out and cut trees down out there. I get that, but if you'll find stuff in the blind or branches, guys have already piled stuff. I'll cut it up to work for what I need to do.
so do you remember like when we first started hunting together, I used to carry like that Gerber machete in my with the
Yes.
sheath, like,
So
and
that's kind of where the idea
so
came from, and I
saw on
trimmed
one
it
end.
down.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll tell you what. I think I was watching I think it was like in some flooded timber. I don't know where it was, where these guys were based out of, but the little folding saw too.
Yeah,
So
probably be good to have. But and this is where you go down the rabbit hole, though, with like what you could carry. I mean,
for sure.
if I'm hunting, and lately I haven't, my refuge cart hasn't moved this year. Everything has either been 6 decoys in a backpack or areas where we can just drive our trucks out to where we're dumping the decoys. When I have a decoy cart, I will throw that's where I throw an extra water bottle in the decoy cart because I'm pushing a game cart with the jet sled, and that's sometimes where I'll go. I don't have you hunted when I brought my whole my little buddy heater out?
No, but that was I think you probably saw in the notes up there. I added that where I think it's cool. Like in
So I
some
hunt with
blinds,
that. If I'm hunting a blind, if you got kids,
I'll say with
dude,
with
leave
your
leave a
kids.
few
Yeah,
decoys at
yeah,
home. Leave
yeah.
a few decoys at home and bring the heater. And I'm a huge It's like teaching like your girlfriend to go snowboarding or snow skiing. Everyone hates it because you're cold, and same with your kids. So honestly, don't let them learn how to be warm. Bring a little heater. They freaking love it. And I've gone out now I've only done it at Sac. That's the only place I've taken the boys because I want to bring them. They're too little for free roam.
Sure.
So we're looking for a blind. Sac's the place to go for that, in my opinion, because it's just the sheer quantity. And I bring the heater, and it just makes it so much more enjoyable for them.
Well, let's get ready to put a bow on this. We'll fly through this next section here, this last section, if you will. So I think you saw on Facebook I put out there what are some things that are always in people's blind bags? What do they always have with them? And we'll just kind of go through some of these because we've pretty much have talked about almost all of them. So like I said, first aid kit, but really I put the tourniquet in that quick clot gauze. I was so surprised how, and I don't know if you went through the comments at all, but there were a lot of people that were shouting out that stuff, which, you know what, that's good to have, but I'd be curious to know how many people actually have that extensive of emergency gear. Like we talked about it, we don't, but we should. TP wet wipes makes total sense. I thought this one was kind of funny that a lot of guys are big on the Imodium and Pepto. They say whether it's from the night before. You get some guys that say like, "Oh, I just pound a couple of Imodium before we go out there, so that way I don't need the teepee." But that's a hell of a dice he's rolling.
Yeah, I'll just take my TP.
Yeah, I guess that's the same guy that carries the microfiber cloth.
He probably shits in the blind too.
Exactly right. Which, hey, speaking of that, and side whatever here. I don't know if we actually talked about that. We found out where that happened. Did we talk?
Did we?
We didn't talk about that on the podcast. So
No.
for those of you guys that listen to Please Don't Poop in the Blind, the comment from, I think his name was Dylan or Devin, but I reached out to him and I said, "Hey man, like tell me more about this. Where was this?" So he said that
It was Daryl.
Daryl, that's what it was. And it happened twice. Both at Sacramento and both at Sac. And so
no.
So and he said, "Damn, do you have the comment? Let me pull it up real quick because it's actually worth." Sorry guys, just hang out one sec. It's worth kind of reading what he said.
Did he reply on the forum?
Yeah, like I think I was chatting with him. And
okay.
Let's see. So here it is. No, fuck, that was an old one.
I just remember he was like, "Don't shit in the blinds at the refuge. Just get out of the blind and go shit in the toolies like normal people." And I was like, this is the most obvious thing to be said. Like, who in the fact has ever shit in the blind?
Yeah.
And I think there was another guy that kind of backed him up on this. So,
what was his name again? Daryl, you said?
Daryl S.
Okay. No. Yeah. Okay, here it is. Okay. One sec. Hang tight, guys.
Done.
All right. So I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, man, we chatted about this on our podcast for the Fowlers, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Where was this?" And he said, "This has happened to me twice on Sacramento Refuge. First time someone left a deuce on the bottom of the blind. Second time it was on the top of the seat like it was left on purpose for the next guy. It was kind of disgusting, and the worst part was no toilet paper was left behind, so I'm guessing they didn't wipe." And then, kind of shouts out the podcast and everything. So I thought that was pretty funny because especially when he talks about like it being left there for on purpose, I think you were talking about like the upper decker prank for the next hunter, but
exactly.
So we could put a bow on that. So that's kind of the end of that story there, but
funny.
Going back to kind of what people make sure they keep in their bags. We were talking about the Imodium Pepto. I'm big on this, like Tylenol or Advil. I always throw Advil.
Yeah, I appreciate you always having an Advil for me. I think I've owe you a bottle.
Oh yeah, it's not so much for like the headache or whatever, but you start hauling
the
gear.
Back, the neck.
Start hauling gear at 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, that shit'll save you. Copenhagen, Zins. I know we're out on that one, but I put here a little
That's a must.
Subcategory. Yeah. I put, like for me, I like to bring out some cigars out there. What's funny, and don't mock me out there. People might, talk a little shit on this one, but the Black and Milds, man. Take it back.
Well, that's for the ducks. That's not for you.
No, I know. And take it back to the days of high school, man. I keep Black and Milds in the bag, and the reason why, and I shit you guys not on this, every time Kate and I are out there, let's say it's kind of slow. I light up a Black and Mild. Dude, that thing's like a fucking mojo on December 1st, man. They just come diving in on it. And you can't make this shit up. So
I get so excited when I hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
It looks like we're hunting again. It's almost as good as getting out to go pee.
And exactly. And it's quick, but hey, it's
Gotta do
lights out. So the next one, jet boil. I have a jet boil, but I leave that in the rig.
That's for the car.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have a rice blind, leave one in the blind, I guess, but not blind bag.
I don't know if these guys were full of shit or not, but they said like for instant coffee, but they will actually boil marsh water.
No way.
Yeah, I call
maybe
BS.
If they got a still in there, and they're
I call,
at that point you might as well make some hooch.
Well, I call BS on that, but hey, that's I'm thinking that that's probably the guy at SAC that ended up having to shit in the blind. He had drinking marsh water out there. But good snacks
Oh,
out there, the ramen, the cup of noodles. I'm big on
I
the jet
guess.
boil in the morning. The oatmeals are good, those instant oatmeals.
Yep.
We talked about this. Batteries we're out on. Face mask. I know you're a face
Next,
mask
I'm
guy.
a big face dude. Come on, like I'm a big face because you got those guys who just look at their big old glowing face, looks like a kid on freaking Christmas morning just looking up at the sky. I'm like,
Yeah.
cover your fucking face up.
Well, that's what's funny is like, you wear the face mask. I got the, facial hair and
You got
all
a beard.
that. But it's funny, man. How many times, and let's just shout him out, man, for the second time here. Big Pete. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
out there and he's just got those rosy white cheeks that are like just
Just glowing.
glaring. Yeah. So,
He's looking up like a kid on Christmas, just hoping he can see Santa's sleigh.
yeah. But what
You
we
don't need a flashlight.
I don't see a lot of guys doing this, but it's like the face paint, and we used to
Cork it up.
when we started was corking up, just take a little wine cork or champagne cork, take the lighter out, get the ash and just darken up the face. But once again, just with the facial hair, I think I'm good.
I think the cork's the way to go, though. I mean,
Yeah.
they sell that stuff like, little league things, the face paint.
Yeah.
I think a cork does the trick.
And then the last couple things here, we talked about it. Some people like to bring out the hand pruner, so you're not alone there. A little small hand saw, shell pickup stick. I said I carry that one. This guy, I know he's yanking our chain on this one, but the mini shovel, and he said, quote, to bury the spoonies when the good birds show up. I'm out on that for multiple reasons, but one, I'm a spoony guy. I like spoons, but yeah. And then it's funny, man, some of the snacks that people throw out there. Everyone's big on energy drinks, the Uncrustables.
Yeah, that's the world we live in.
Lil Debbie's, candy bars. Dude, I can't get into this one. This is like those Duck Commander guys, but the Vienna sausages, no thanks, man.
No, not for me.
So, but that's basically it for, what's in the blind bag, not only ours, but maybe what you guys have in yours or what, the experts say that you should have in there. But I guess kind of our tips and lessons learned, like I said, we always say we're not experts, we're not professionals, but the biggest thing I could share is don't overpack. Just remember, you gotta carry that bag, from the parking lot.
Hopefully, you got a couple pounds of ducks
Exactly.
on the so to speak strap.
Exactly. So yeah, just remember you got to carry that pack from the parking lot or at least through the pond, and make sure everything's waterproof. Keep it protected, a Ziploc bag, whatever. But and it's funny. Someone like I was reading something on like I think it was in like the DU magazine or something. It said, "quote If it's something that can fail, bring a backup." Which I guess we basically said we're out on that this whole time. So,
Yeah, because I can survive 3 hours doing almost anything.
yeah. So, but hey, let's wrap up this episode. I was going to say, don't forget, let us know on Instagram if we're missing anything. Send us a comment. Let us know what you like to carry in your bag. Let us know if you think that we're a bunch of idiots and jackasses and we don't know what we're talking about, but even let us know that. But
we already know that.
But yeah, make sure you're following us on Instagram at For the Fowlers and rate, review, follow, subscribe wherever you listen to our podcast. And, everyone have a good holiday. Happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.